Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Could we please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we'll start with our work session. And we have Bill Wadarzak. He is the treasurer for East Aurora baseball and softball. And Bill, would you come up to the mic and please speak right into the mic if you could. Thanks.
Hi. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm Bill Wadarzak. I'm the treasurer of East Aurora baseball and softball. And I come here with some good stuff. I have a couple of checks here. Two $2,500 checks totaling $5,000 we're giving to the town for maintenance and diamond dirt for the ball diamonds that the program gets to use. So just ad-libbing here a little bit. I've actually been on the board for 15 years, back when it was a rec department sport, and we've really come a long way. I'm really proud of the program, and we couldn't have gotten there without help from the town and from Dave especially. We have a really good relationship, and the diamonds always look great. I wish you could control the weather, but you can't. But it's been really working out well, working with the rec department, and we're proud to have this program. And again, thank you to the town for helping us out. I know growing from a town run sport to our own club sport has had some of its growing pains over the years, but I think we have our biggest enrollment at the T-ball level in a lot of years. So and hopefully we can keep those kids and those parents who can be coaches too. So us guys who don't have kids in the program don't have to coach anymore. So, but it's all positive things. I'm very happy to be on the board and happy for the town's participation. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We got some more improvements coming for you for your next season with a bathroom, and
I saw they're working on it already. That's great. That's great.
So it'll be a good season for you.
So there's two checks. Each one is $2,500. We had tried to give money for diamond dirt in the past. So this is for 2022. And then we know that thanks to some good fall weather and some things that really can't be done in the spring because it's too wet, it was moved to the fall. So it worked out well. So this is that payment as well. So
thanks. Yeah, Jim, just so you know, we already installed this diamond dirt, so it's a reimbursement. Like Bill said, it was because of the good weather, and those are both those new diamonds where we're doing the project, so they look really good.
They do.
So the whole thing will look real good in the spring. So thank you for raising it, and this is on top of the 10,000 the town put in through the TA fund this year. So ball diamonds are really in good shape. So thanks.
As we look forward, I think what are we looking for next step here in the future, long term?
Well, that's a good question. I think we just want to keep growing the program. We had a little bit of a pause during the pandemic, so we lost some enrollment. We want to maybe take some of those kids back that went to other sports, but the goal is to longevity. Like I said, I've been doing it a long time, and we have some brand new board members, some parents, some dads, and a mom of some young kids. So the hope is that we can hand it off to that next group, and then just keep it. Baseball is a great sport. I played it. My kids played it. And just to have that available to East Aurora kids would be great.
As far as scheduling is concerned, now that Amy's no longer on the board,
she's on the board.
She's okay.
She's no longer the president.
Okay. Who's going to be taking her scheduling? I have Chris is giving a demonstration about the new scheduling program. So it might make sense to get someone in to go over how the scheduling will be different next year, whoever's going to be doing it.
That'll be great. So Dan Mursky is our new president. He was our secretary, and it was one of those where we all stepped back and he stayed forward. Yep. So he's the new president. That's a great point. Scheduling has been tricky. I know we have the bulk of the diamond use, but I also know the rec department can schedule it out to others. I don't know how often they do it. The schedule is tricky because it could be fluid from one day to the next due to weather. Yeah. We have right now a real-time Google Doc schedule that we want to give the town or the rec department, but they require a printout each time, and that gets a little cumbersome. So hopefully this new piece that you're talking about will make it a little easier for both of us.
Yeah, I would say, so I'll be meeting with Chris December, so it's first week, second week of December.
Okay,
And then if you can give Dan my contact information.
I definitely
We
will.
can connect and then we'll try to get this before the season happens. So we got it all taken care
Great
of.
idea. Great. Before it's a problem, get on it right away. Absolutely. I'll let them know.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Tough act to follow, show up with $5,000 first guy out of the gate. So
Sorry.
everybody step up their games out there if you want to be heard.
That's right. Hard luck benefits. How much are you bringing us? Yeah.
You're doing a great job, though. Thank you.
Bill,
Doing a
thank you.
great job.
Thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we're, like you said, we're starting out at 5. What are we gonna do here now? Okay, next is health insurance and Hart, with the representatives from Hartloff. And I don't know if Kathleen, if you wanted to come up at all. Okay. Right up, and if you talk right into the mic so everyone can hear, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's right, we can share.
Oh,
We can share. Okay. Ready to go. We already got that.
So, good evening. I'm April Hartloff, owner of Hartloff Benefit Solutions. This is Marissa Friedman. And that's a tough act to follow. So sorry, we're not coming with $5,000 in pocket. We're coming to talk to you about the changes in the healthcare. And I know you guys kind of got a heads up because we're looking at proposing to move to independent health. We're facing a 10% rate increase this year, but not only 10%, some significant changes in the plans. So I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty unless you want me to, but in our packet here, we have some bullet points of the major changes in the plan. You know, this whole pandemic we're facing, there's a lot of unknown with our health insurance. We're all facing increases. You know, usually we try to take the approach of a 3-year outlook, and it's kind of difficult right now because there's still a lot of unknown with all these plans, with all the carriers. We have 3 players: Highmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Univera, and Independent Health in our market. So, you know, looking at the numbers and the changes, this may be a year that this group's going to want to change to independent health. So I don't know where you want me to start. I don't know how much Kathleen has shared with you guys, with the board members. But
If you could just go over the plan that I think we were zeroing in on, correct, Kathleen?
there's 4 plans.
Right, but
So I tried to make it easy. I like easy, right? So this big sheet here, the ones that are in blue are the Blue Cross renewal, and right next to it is the independent health proposed plan. So right now we're offering 4 plans. We're offering a copay option and then a mini little hybrid plan with a mini deductible, but nobody enrolled in that last year. That was a new plan last year. That's the Gold Classic. And then we have 2 high deductible healthcare plans. They're the HSA qualified plans. We have 2 of those. So if we start with the copay, with the Blue Cross, we have a big portion of the population enrolled in that. That's someone who wants to pay more money up front for the unknown. That's very little when they go to use a service. That's why I have that peace of mind, but you're going to pay, it's a significant difference in premium. You pay now or later. You're going to notice that with any of these plans, when you're looking at it, we pay today more in premium, or we pay later when we go to use the service. So I don't know if any of you are on a high deductible or what kind of health plans you have yourself or been on. High deductible healthcare plans, I've been working with groups for over 10 years that have had those plans. I mean, they've been around, and that's where we're heading. Not many of us are in copay plans anymore, just because of cost. Remember, your rates are based on the community rates. So you don't have a special rate. It's not dictated on what's happening with your claims. It's based on what's happening in Western New York, because you have less than 99 employees. So it's called community rated plans. These are book rates. They're set plans. You can't design them. Ever since healthcare reform was enacted, it took away our ability to tweak these plans to your group specifically. So every year the plans come out, and they are what they are. So if you look at the platinum, the copay, the premium is going to be very close to what you're currently paying on the premium. I'm gonna just use single, it's $665, what you're currently paying, and with independent health, it's $697 versus $731. But there's some different big changes. Out-of-pocket max, how much the most someone would pay. It's only $3,500 with independent health versus $5,000. Not that that's really a big deal when you're paying co-pays for services. Some of the other changes, blood work, now people are going to start paying 15. Independent health is 5. The outpatient surgery went up to $250 with Blue Cross. Independent health is 100. So some of like that everyday things that we're using, people not only are going to pay 10% more in premium, but then they're going to pay more to use the service. So you can kind of look, the plans are very similar when you look side by side. The other difference with all the plans, and I don't know if your members, I know we educate them, that $250 card that they get, well, nothing's free, right? That card now can only be used for gym membership with Highmark starting January 1. So I know a lot of people are unhappy about that because you could use it for vitamins, the co-op, health and wellness. Starting January 1st, it's for gym only. That's a difference. Independent health does offer either a $250 card for massage, vitamins, gym, or a Tops nutrition benefit. If you buy produce, you can earn points, dollars. So the copay plan, when you're looking at them side by side, independent health, I believe, is going to be better, lower out of cost for the member, lower premium, closer to what you're currently paying. We want to keep things kind of flat. Do you have a question?
I have a lot of questions, but
Okay. Yeah. The Gold Classic, I'm kind of just going to breeze over that because nobody took it. We stuck that plan in there last year because we thought for those people that didn't want to pay the high out of premium for a copay and take the risk of a little deductible of $600, it's a great hybrid plan. It's that plan that moves you from a copay to the high deductible, but it's not that huge deductible. So I'm going to just bypass that because nobody even enrolled in it. Nobody was attracted to it. They either want to pay the premium and to have no deductible, or you have the members that went to the deductible. So we're going to just move right over to the deductible.
Okay.
The Silver 7100, that plan went up 10%, I believe. I think that plan there, it's about an average 10%, 8%, but overall the 4 plans went up about 10%. That plan, the deductible went up to $2,500 and it was currently at $1,900. If you compare it right next to the independent health, iDirect Silver copay, which is an HSA qualified, the deductible is $2,000. So the cost is $523 and you're currently paying $506. So it's close to what you're currently paying, and the deductible is pretty close. That's a big jump in the deductible. Highmark for the last couple of years, Blue Cross has always had that. They hung their hat on. They had the only HSA qualified plan in the silver level under $2,000. Now their deductible went up to $2,500. So that's a big nut for somebody. And then to take 8% increase in your premium. So when you look at that, the plans are very similar, other than the deductible is lower with independent health. But what happens after the deductible is a little bit different. So when you're looking at these plans, it's not apples to apples. I think that's really hard to truly, when you look at any of these health plans, they're not equally. The copays may be a little bit different. So on the surface, you got to get down in the nitty gritty to really understand if it makes sense to make the change. The silver plan, the 8,100, the deductible went up from 2,900 to 3,500. And that plan took a 12% increase in premium, just premium going out the door before the insurance even kicks in. So what they're doing is they're putting more onto the member. This past year, they wanted a 20% increase, 18 to 20%. They only got 10. But what they did is the nitty gritty inside the plans changed. So you got to weigh that out. When you compare the independent health plan next to it, the deductible's $3,000 versus $3,500, lower deductible. The premium's $492. You're currently paying $451. So it's a little bit more manageable when you're looking at increase to the members, what their premium is going to be coming out of their paycheck.
Yeah.
But there's some differences. And we talked to Kathleen and Elizabeth about this. Prescription drugs. Anybody that's getting those free prescriptions, there's about 630 prescriptions that Highmark offers, but now they're changing. It's only going to be the deductible plans. Before, if you were in the copay and you were getting a free prescription, it applied to all their plans. Independent Health does have a smaller list. It's about 315 prescription drugs. It's going to be those cholesterol, blood pressure, generic type prescriptions that are inexpensive anyways. However, Highmark does have some diabetes, some of the brand name insulin and prescriptions that are covered at no cost. So one way or the other, at the end of the day, you're going to pay for it. You're either going to pay for it in less premium, but when you go to use it, or maybe the prescription is not covered in full because nothing is free. Yeah. So probably that's the biggest difference. When we look at networks, they're essentially the same. The 8 counties of Western New York, 99% of the doctors, all the hospitals take both plans. So we didn't show the limited networks because, we're doing a fair comparison, the most comparable plan. And I'm trying to think what else. That's kind of the big differences, like the high overview. When you look side by side, the ones that are blue are the current renewal, what we're proposing next to it. So it kind of makes it easy when you're looking at it. When you get into the deductible, remember the stuff that's inside the plan doesn't affect the member until after the deductible. So anybody that does anybody here have a deductible plan? So you know that you pay the full price, the negotiated rate until you meet your deductible, if and when. Only about 30% of us actually hit our deductible across, statistically in Western New York. So you're shifting your dollars is really what we're doing. So bringing this, we thought we had to do a really fair comparison and really do a drill down and say, does this make sense to the members? Because it's a significant dollars difference that'll be coming out of their paycheck. Plus, not only that, a big part of your population's over here in the deductible plans. Got some questions?
Yeah, so on the independent health, what is the single? Is this the single person $3,000 to the deductible?
Yep. So the first number is going to be the single. If you're insuring more than yourself, then you fall into the family. So if it's you and a spouse, you with your kids, falls into the family. So when you're in the deductible plans, it's a true family deductible.
Right. So, but it's the $3,000. That's the deductible from all the members of the family, or just one person before you hit and the insurance starts.
So if you're in the silver and you have a family, husband and wife,
Yeah.
they would have to meet the $6,000
Meet the
deductible.
6,000.
Six.
And the 3,000 is per person, or
The 3,000 is for a single person insuring on one person.
and is there a maximum out-of-pocket cost for these plans?
Yep. So if you go down the second yellow line, all our plans have out-of-pocket max. And the silver has 6,950 and the Blue Cross is 7,000. When it gets to the out-of-pocket max, it's individual. So that's where it gets a little confusing. When you have the high deductible healthcare plans, we're subject to a family deductible. That's called true family. But when it comes to the out-of-pocket, they protect if it's one single member. If they hit that $6,900 and the rest of the year, their medical stuff would be covered in full. Unlikely you're going to hit that in the silver, 7,100. And the 80 or the iDirect Silver coinsurance or the 8,100, you'd be more likely to hit that because if you got hospitalized or you had a big ticket item, because you're paying a percentage. Where the 7,100 or the iDirect Silver copay, after deductible, you have a set copay. So you know what your exposure is. I land in the hospital, I have a $2,000 deductible, and then I pay $1,000 for my hospital bill. And that's if it's one day or it's a month. Versus the Blue Cross, I pay 40% of that hospital bill, or independent health, I pay 20% of that hospital bill until I hit my out-of-pocket max. So the out-of-pocket max is important on when you have coinsurance, because when you have that big ticket item, one day in the hospital, you're probably going to be at the out-of-pocket. $10,000, $20,000 hospital bill, having to pay either 40 or 20%. It'll take you a little bit longer on the independent health plan. That's why when I'm looking at it, I think the silver, iDirect Silver copay is a better value for a member, better protection, but everybody's threshold's different. What's important to them. If you're never using it, that's a gamble. That's the risk you're taking for the what ifs.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, but my premise, when you look at these amounts, even in the high deductible plans, it looks like the employee would be better off if you have one or two children, or maybe even three, to go with the New York State of Health Children's Plan.
That's a great point. We talk about that at every single meeting with our employees. The days of everybody being on one plan is a thing of the past. We break plans apart where we'll maybe put the kids on Child Health Plus. It's a sliding scale based on the household income. So every child can get it. And then maybe the one parent will, get two single coverages, with their employers. Everything comes down to a math problem.
So is it possible for the town to pay into those Child Health Plus plans?
No,
It has to be the individual.
it's the individual. It's
'Cause
all,
that's out of your pocket and it's difficult to do and you may miss a payment and that.
it's on the individual. So I think this is something we always talk about. They have to be some skin in the game. They got to be accountable. They got to be their own advocate. And it's a way to save dollars. And we help them. Our office, we're certified brokers, navigators on the New York State of Health. And we pencil it out.
Yeah.
Because it's a sliding scale. Maybe I might have to pay a little bit of premium, but in the big picture, if I'm going to save $500 a month in premium on my work plan and it costs me $100 or whatever it might be, maybe it's free. So it's all based on how many members in your household and your income.
Yeah, it seems it's important to get that message out because I imagine quite a few of our employees would have free.
And we
Child
try to talk to them about that, but nobody really showed up to the meeting last year. I mean, a few people, the people that it was important. I think the retirees are the ones that actually came. How about Kathleen?
Yep.
At our meeting, not many, yeah.
Because looking at if you take even the highest deductible plan of independent health and you have, say that nobody has health insurance in your family, employee spouse is $984.
Yep.
You would be saving potentially $400 or $500, right? If you got the health care plus for free,
Absolutely.
because the maximum is like $300 per child, right?
Well, if you get to full premium, it ranges on what carrier you pick. It ranges between $200 and $250 per child,
Right.
depending on the carrier, because every carrier's premium is different. It's the same plan. You just
Right.
you pick the carrier.
But then like everything is covered, right? And
There's no copays, correct? And it includes
copays.
dental and vision. So that's why we always say it comes down to math, and we try to educate people on that. We talk about that all day long. We do at every single meeting. That's one of the first things I talk about. You really got to take a look and what's going to be best for your family. But the problem is, like, an employer can't pay for it. All we can do is give you guidance, because this is what we pay towards your premium here. You might be better to look at other options and break the family apart. It's inconvenient for some people, and some people just don't want to take that step.
Right.
But we are there to help guide them that. And I feel it's amazing coverage when you compare it to these deductibles. It's amazing. And they cover the kids till they turn 19. So
Right.
it's a way to kind of bridge that for a while, put some savings in your pocket. And if you're in a deductible plan, why not then put the difference in your health savings account, your HSA?
I have more long-term questions,
Yeah.
but that's really, I think we do have to educate, try as hard as possible we can. I know Kathleen tries a lot, but really try to educate on that point, because especially for the children, it's a great plan that New York State provides, and it
Mhm.
probably is free. So you wouldn't even have to pay any of the premium, and everything is then without any payments all year. So
Well, I just think sometimes people just don't, we live
It's a
this
challenge.
busy lifestyle. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, if
and
people
it's
just,
confusing, yeah.
they maybe are confused, or they just don't take the time. We're right here in town now. So now that we're right here around the corner, we would meet with any of your employees anytime they had questions, they wanted some guidance or assistance. That's what we're here for. We don't really know. We don't have the crystal ball. I wish I could predict out the next 3 to 5 years, because that's what I've done in the past. Now it's getting more difficult. We don't know where these numbers are going. But I guarantee we're going to see a rate increase again next year. No doubt. I would bet you.
That's gone on for
Yeah.
many years.
Yes. Yep.
I was just wondering if we could do like a couple of scenarios where if you are an employee and you have one, we could try to sit down with the employees. We'll say, how many children do you have? How many? I just upped mine for 2023. So I went through this whole online program. And you
Right.
put all the information in. But we should try to do that, because I do think it'd be considerable savings if they were to jump on it.
We're there to
Well,
help.
we offer 4 plans you know, depending on your level of risk. I mean, I personally think that it's up to the employee to
So
say,
what, right, but what this would do, right, let's take any one of these four options if you were to take it. Let's just say that you wanted option 4 with the high deductible plan. So if you chose the family plan and had 2 children, right, you would have to pay $1,400. If you chose only yourself and your spouse, it's $984. So savings of $500, but your child is not covered.
Yeah.
However, New York State has
New York
health
Health.
insurance, which is probably free for most of the employees within our brackets, or low cost. Do you know the figures on those? If it's $50,000 is.
Well, there's a chart.
Yeah.
It's going to be based on how many people and I can send over the chart to Kathleen. But again, I think that's the employees. I think they need to have some skin in the game. They need to be involved,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
we're giving them a good portfolio. There are some
Sure.
groups that I work with that give them one plan,
Right.
one option.
Yep.
I mean, back in the day before healthcare reform, you could only offer one plan, maybe 2. Now we're able to offer multiple plans. So I really think that the employee does have to take some initiative and be involved, because we are giving them options.
Yeah.
So there is a chart. It's easy. It's New York State of Health. You create an online account. You can do it at night. You can call our office. We can walk them through it, but they have to want to do it and take that step, and then make sure that their doctors take whatever carrier they pick. So
It's
It's-
confusing, but you could save $600 a month.
yeah, I
So-
couldn't agree more. Luke. I
Yeah.
couldn't. But again, on the other hand, as you say, they have to take that step.
You'll eat a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it.
absolutely.
Yeah, so-
And we talk about,
Yeah.
we
I
work
mean-
with
I
about
mean-
250 business owners, groups, and we have this conversation with every single group. And it's from municipalities to trucking companies to medical groups. And some people this is the comfort.
Yeah.
People just have their comfort zone. So we are giving them a nice portfolio of options, and then it's really up to them.
So using the HSA, is it possible, do you know, for a municipality to match contributions to an HSA?
You can. But then you got to be careful, because now you got people in copay. How are you going to have different? Because like right now you have a flat dollar amount that goes towards all of them. So then what are you going to do then with, how are you going to, somebody I don't know if your group's big enough to do something like that. I mean, you can, but then how do you have someone who's on a copay and they're not getting money in HSA?
Yeah, we would have to think about that. The high deductible plans, correct me if I'm wrong, work better when you have an HSA that goes with it, right?
Oh, I'm a big advocate. Why wouldn't you want to put dollars tax-free?
Yeah.
But the
I mean-
thing is, when you fund deductibles with an HSA, the employer monies, once you put that in the employee's account, it's their money. And they
Right.
leave tomorrow, it's gone. I mean, it goes with them. We work with the Village. They have an HRA and an HSA, but they have different plans and different, the way the contribution a little bit different, but HRA is where you fund the deductible, but it stays if the people don't use the money.
A question regarding the HSAs. You say, why wouldn't people do it? Isn't one of the problems, so if you put too much in it, you don't use it, you've given the money away?
That's a great question. That is an FSA.
Okay.
So HSA is your social security number. It's a rollover tax tool. It's triple tax savings. It goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and you withdraw it tax-free until age 65. Then you can withdraw it for non-medical if you choose, and you just pay taxes. But we know as we get older, we're gonna use more services. So when I'm in my 65, 70, I can use it towards my Medicare prescriptions, supplemental plans. So I'm a huge advocate, because usually if you look at 5 years, you're gonna have 1 year where someone has maybe a catastrophic event where they hit their deductible. Otherwise, most of us, maybe you're hitting a deductible in the last month of the plan year. But why not put those dollars, the difference in these premiums, and it's in your pocket?
And then what's not used, you're saying it goes in your pocket or it gets rolled over?
It rolls over. It stays in. It's a
And
savings
You can
account.
roll it over until you're, I guess, 65. if you
It
need
can
to.
stay in there forever and never pay taxes on it or a penalty.
Right.
So it's a cool, I mean, if you embrace it when you're younger and build up some tax dollars, and there are some HSA vendors that do allow you to invest the money, like once you get maybe $5,000, $2,500 into the account. But I just think it's just to have that triple tax savings, because you can use it for dental and vision, and, out of pocket stuff. And think about it, 30%.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a retirement strategy as well. If you don't use the money, then you could use it
Yeah.
just as if it were as your retirement account as well.
So people think when they hear that, that's FSA, flexible spending account. That's to use it where you get your crystal ball out and say, okay, I spend $1,000 a year and it comes out every week out of my paycheck and I have access. But then the end of the year, everybody's scrambling to spend the money. That's the use it or lose it. Because then if you don't use all the monies, it's gone, stays back to the employer. But HSA is, and employers can match dollars, they can fund it, but individuals can only put so much money in per tax year. It's based on the calendar year. So
I think it's 77.50 this year, right?
it is, 77, for 23, 77.50 and 38.50 for a single. So it went up a pretty big jump from every year. It usually goes up $100 or $50. And then if you're over 55, you can put additional $1,000 into the account.
And I know it's a difficult thing to sell, but I do think not for next year. I mean, speaking personally, the independent health seems like the best way to go and most reasonable, but long-term, as these costs go up with our younger employees, I do think we need to look at ways to encourage them to be using the HSA in a way that they could build up money. That way, if you have one bad year, you could by that time have the maximum amount of what you need to spend that year in your HSA and really, not be affected. So
Absolutely. I always say take the difference between a copay plan and the deductible, what would be coming out of my pocket. If I was willing to take that out of my pocket, why wouldn't I want to put the difference in an HSA?
right.
I have just one question. So you said the plan is to offer 4 plans, but when nobody tends to take the second from the top, is there any drawback to the town for offering 4 plans? Right. We're just making that offering.
You can offer the 4 plans, even if nobody enrolls in them.
Gotcha. And there's no financial setback to the town.
No.
Okay.
We just decided, because we just started working with your group last year and we thought, you know what, let's just plug that in and give people that option because it was a nice little savings.
Love it.
I think that nobody, there was a comfort. Either I just want a straight copay or I'm been deductible and I'm good with that. So,
Exactly.
I still think we should plug in that 4th plan that it just gives those people, if they're ready to maybe make that move.
It's their level of comfort and who knows what their circumstances are.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
4 plans, you can't really ask for a whole lot.
No, I think that, we've got a nice, a little bit at each metal level. We definitely didn't do the bronze. I'm not a huge advocate for the bronze because of the exposure you put to yourself, $6,000 or $8,000 deductible. You don't save enough in premium. I think the best value for your dollar is that's the silver copay. Because it's that middle of the road, it's manageable. If I'm single, it's $2,000. That, don't get me wrong, $2,000 is a lot of money, but if I land in the hospital and I have $100,000 hospital bill, it's going to cost me $2,000 deductible, $1,000 for copay. $3,000 is nothing compared to $100,000 bill. So, when you kind of look at it, versus doing the one with the co-insurance after, that scares me. But if you're someone who's got those dollars, if you got $6,000 in your HSA or $6, you're comfortable with that, then, but to me personally, I think that's a big risk. Unless, you've had somebody where you've had an HSA for 5 or 10 years and you got $50,000 in it and it's not a worry to you.
It's always the risk, you're young and you're healthy and you're strong and you've never been sick a day in your life. And so, you take that chance, even though you might not have $6,000, but when you're,
But you'll be thankful when when you start seeing the bills coming in and the explanation of benefits, you're like, holy cow, thank God I have insurance.
unless it never happens
Right.
to your 73.
It's tough for employees to change as well, right? Once you get used to a certain amount in your paycheck, to then take less of a paycheck would be difficult. If we have a 4% raise this year, maybe this is the year that we do a little bit of advertising to try to inform our employees about the HSA if they are going to be taking it. Even if the town is not going to be matching this year, it's not a part of our budget, but to try to use that, it is, I guess, from the town's perspective, you have a set dollar amount.
So you know, when you hire somebody, what your cost is going to be. I mean, other than giving them the tools and the resources here, saying, hey, you might want to think about, here's your options and there's
Yes.
ways to save money. But as far as year end with your budget, you've got to set, it's flat. I mean, this is what we spend. When you hire somebody, you know exactly what it's going to be for that year and the hourly, because everything's got an hourly rate to it.
Like you said, you're always available to talk to the employees, and you've been very good about that and very good to us. So
Thank you.
we
Yeah,
appreciate that.
just a question, sorry, a question here, and maybe I'm off on this, but if an employee were to pay for Child Health Plus themselves, that would save them money, but it would also save the town money.
Could. Yeah, you're
If
right.
we
And
can
that
do
is
it-
true, because you got somebody, if they're going from a family and you're paying $1,400 towards the family premium, and they go to a 2-person, it's only $989. So yeah, you would save $400, a little over almost $500 in contribution. So it is true. You're right.
Would we be able to use that as part of the matching funds to an HSA? If we were to convince employees to go to the New York State of Health, whatever, Child Health Plus, right?
So are you going to give them the full amount though? Would you give them the full? So then you'd be right back to where we were.
Well, we pay a set amount,
Right.
right, for each employee.
Depending if they're single, we have the 4 tiers.
So let's say if we work this through, we have an individual and spouse who have 2 children.
Okay. So you pay $1,423.
And the employee pays nothing.
Right.
So we would not be able to, how would we encourage that employee to go to New York State of Health or
Right.
Child Health
You-
Plus?
I probably wouldn't, other than I'm going to have a $6,000 deductible. Well, regardless, if I hit my spouse, I'd still have a $6,000 deductible.
But there's-
So that's
there's-
when you have a free, I'm
Yeah.
not really free, but when you have a 0 cost plan to the employee, there's no incentive for them. So would make it difficult.
But is there a way that we could incentivize them, because we would be ourselves saving money, even if we paid the cost to them of that New York State of Health insurance program?
And you wouldn't be able to pay the premium for the New York State of Health because that's an individual program based on their household and the bill comes to them. They might be getting too complicated. How you're going to,
So
This person
I'm an
makes
attorney,
X and this
so-
person makes Y, and then this changes that. And there's.
yeah.
But yeah, we look for
Messy.
complicated answers if they work.
Well, Luke,
Um,
it's not, I mean, where I work, Claire gets the insurance. I could have gotten it, but she chose to get it, and I get a $3,000 bonus every year because I chose not to get the insurance.
Yeah, so, but let me just work with this scenario, right? So we're paying $1,423 for that family. But if we were to figure out some way that we could induce them to pay for New York State of Health, they're getting a better health plan for their children, and we as a town would be saving money in the long run, even if we somehow reimburse them for those costs, if that was possible. We don't need an answer now. I'm just thinking not again
Right.
for next year, but more long term. If there was a way that we could propose to them a plan where we would compensate them for the cost of New York State of Health, they get a better plan and the town saves money.
Do you have a buyout? That's something I don't know. If someone doesn't take the insurance,
Yes.
Yes.
We don't.
19.
But regional papers, no policies of the town for this month, or any contribution towards any combination of health insurance. So if they pick up dental vision, their contribution will go towards dental vision too. So their contribution doesn't go towards medical.
Yeah.
So if they go to child family dental and vision, we contribute towards that as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad thank you so much for coming in. I'm glad. I just think that as this gets more and more expensive, we probably would not be a bad thing to look for more complicated solutions, because even in this particular situation, we could be a win-win. Not saying that it's easy to do, but I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Is to find the best option. So
And that's what that's where we come into play, shopping the market, bringing all the solution, all the different options. That's why we're taking a serious look at independent health. I think with Highmark, I think they'll rebound in a couple of years. You're going to see them be back on top. I mean, that's how it is. This is how the market is. Univera is right there too. What you're noticing, we're not showing any Univera. Rate wise, they're not competitive. So they're not really a player in the small group market in these same kind of plans. So that's what we do every year is take a look as soon as the rates come out and we just say, hey, this is
Where we are today.
this is what we have today. But we do, as soon as the rates come out, we give them to you, which usually come out about mid-September. As soon as we have them, we're working diligently to do the comparison and get them over as fast as possible. As fast as they're releasing them. Probably by May, they'll be putting in the request for rates for 24. So I have a feeling, because that was one question Kathleen asked, was if we say we move this year to IH because it makes sense, cost saving, keeping really your members' costs flat and deductibles pretty similar. What if next year Blue Cross comes with these amazing plans? Can we move back? Yes, absolutely. It's just the education and there's a cost, to move people, just the internal, time, but we're here to help you with that process. We can absolutely go back and forth. But I think this year, not that we're chasing a rate, but I think we had to take a serious look because the plan changes, I think were significant to the members, not only premium. It just worried me when you're looking at some of these deductibles. So I think we needed to take advantage of the rates and, we do offer the 4 plans, give the people the option.
Yeah.
We can't accommodate every single member. We went through what the pros and cons were. There seems to be more pros than cons when we looked at both carriers with some of the nitty gritty stuff in the plan.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention and working with Kathleen on that because it
You're
really
welcome.
helps a lot.
Yep, that's what we're there for. So if you have any questions, you've got our contact in the packets. And then we'll work with Kathleen to get, hopefully we can get people coming to a meeting because they're gonna have to fill out paperwork anyways if we do make the carrier change. And, hopefully next year we won't be facing as big of an increase. And as soon as we get more word, we'll share that with you. We're already working with our June group. So we try to get ahead of the game because we know with budget purposes and things, people want to have an idea. It's been very difficult the last 3 years. And I'm sure on your end as well with all your expenses, because there's still an unknown.
Very challenging.
And I really think for the next 10 years, with people's ID cards and customer service, it's all going to be blamed on the pandemic. That's going to be the excuse. I didn't get my card. Nobody's answering the phone at the insurance companies. Oh, the pandemic. 10 years later, we're still going to be having the same conversation. So, but we're here to, show you what your options are and help you understand it. Marissa and I and our team, like I said, we're right around the corner. So we are here and we will help Kathleen through the process if we decide to make that move.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, next we have a temporary use permit for the Lancaster Soccer and at Knox Park. Is no one here for that?
Hi, everybody. I'm on remotely today. It's Tony Minetta from Lancaster Soccer.
Hey, Tony.
Hi, apologies for not being able to come in, but thanks for having me. So yeah, I've submitted an application about a week or so ago to the rec department. Been working with Peter Sorgi over at Arsenal Soccer to see if there was a possibility of using the facility over at Knox. We've been putting on a tournament for, I guess, over 30 years or so. And Lancaster High School's got some capital projects the next couple of summers, which is where we normally hold our tournament. And I approached Peter to see if there was an opportunity to work with him and the town to temporarily use that space for the next couple summers if everything works out appropriately. We'd be bringing in teams from not only Western New York, but it's neighboring areas like Pennsylvania and as far east, I guess, is sometimes Connecticut, and even some Canadian teams come in. So it's been a pretty good tournament. It's been a little lighter in the pandemic years, but the only year we were unable to hold it was when all the restrictions were in place. But otherwise, we've been having this tournament, like I said, for about 30 plus years at this point.
I have a question, Tony. A couple
Sure.
questions. It's a fairly large event. I guess I would be wanting to talk to Dave to what your involvement with that would be in assisting them, and if there would be any additional costs to the town for garbage removal or traffic parking, so on forth.
Yeah, Jim, I think that we should have, did he send over a proposal, what the intent is? It sounds like it's a weekend tournament, the last week of July, I believe. Is that
That
correct?
says 12 to 1,500 people. Is that right, Tony?
Yeah, it's for the last weekend of July. It is, rough and tough. That's my estimate if, based on previous tournaments, but they're not all going to be there at once. I didn't, I did submit a traffic and parking plan. There's several parking lots at the facility itself. We were going to have, it's a lot of volunteer staffing to keep traffic moving from that perspective. But again, if there's certain town requirements, I'm not aware of, then we can, be made aware
Yeah,
of.
Jim, it sounds similar to what we've done for cross country before with the tournament. Is this a 2-day event, Tony? I'm sorry, I'm a little behind on this.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 days. It goes Friday evening typically
Okay.
into, so I guess Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday.
Right. So you don't need any kind of traffic control. That's something that we usually have to provide if there's you can use the existing parking lots. You don't need to do anything special there.
That's my plan as of now. We've not done anything special at Lancaster. I mean, obviously different facility and stuff, but
what would you do with restrooms and garbages? Garbages is our biggest problem for tournaments like this. The rugby last year blew out 2 dumpster fulls. So,
sure.
What is your plan on that?
Yep. Every year we from the restroom perspective, we rent porta potties, and so we'd be looking to do that again. And on my application, I wasn't unsure if that was, if trash was a disposal was something we could contract with the town or whoever, but we're willing to, rent dumpsters and pay for it on our, as any other part of the operation goes. It's part of my plan because at the high school, there's plenty of dumpsters and we just dump them in there, all the trash. But we have a plan to rent whatever we need to make that happen.
Well, Jim, that's what we traditionally have done for all events. We've taken care of the garbages ourselves. We bring over 30 barrels or whatever, but that's where I think it's not just this event. We've talked that we really should be looking at the fees charged for larger events like this, because, you're talking over a course of a couple of days, every day, a couple guys coming in and cleaning up, because you can't just go, raccoons or whatever.
Right.
So I think with the $250 fee, it's probably something that should be looked at. And then number 2, this is nothing to do with the soccer event. Did we sign a contract with Polo for last week of July? That's just something that I was wondering if there's a conflict there. I don't remember if we did. I know it's maybe the 3rd week of July.
What was it last
That's what I'm wondering. I think it's reunion week. I think it's something we better look at, because if we signed a contract with Polo, that could be a conflict. If Polo does come and it's the week before, it'll definitely be hard to get everything ready for a tournament, but we'll get it done. Just a couple things that are happening that time of year.
I completely forgot about Polo. There's so many things going on there.
Right. That's just something that we ought to look at to confirm. I think Polo might be flexible, though. I don't really think that they're set. So I think we ought to look at it. But as far as if Pete Sorgi thinks it's good, how can, they're the ones that fund most of the field for us. Mm-hmm. So I don't think the garbage is a big issue for this particular event, but I think as a town, not for this event, we should be looking at that and coming up with levels of service between these big events. But we can handle this easily. 1,500 people, that's nothing.
Tony, so you would supply the people to clean up?
Yeah,
the
just the morning
garbage
cleanup
and all that?
Yeah.
No, Tony would, right? Not the town.
We're volunteer driven for this event. So we typically, we rent golf carts and just, we're traveling around to the trash bins that are around the facilities and just dumping them, dumping as necessary. Yeah. So we would, if there's a dumpster provided, or if we have to rent one, we're open to whatever we need to do. But we would be staffing that piece unless, you tell me that's
Yeah, I
something that.
still think for a large event, we should have some kind of staffing presence. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with people getting stuck in the wrong spot. So I'm not really that concerned about that. It's not that expensive. It's usually our part-timers. And we do have the dumpster through the woods there we can do. Maybe we could do like a hybrid where they haul the garbage, but I think we still got to have somebody there to make sure we don't have any issues.
I just want to make sure that
But I'm not saying
they have enough of
charge
their
them.
own personnel that,
Yeah,
that it doesn't become a big cost to the town. We can offer the fields, but
okay.
I know it can, as far as parking cars, and you get enough people to do that, Tony, that park the cars and direct people and all that.
Yeah, I mean, we typically get a very high level of volunteers. Part of our program, part of the teams and the kids signing up in our program, it includes, like, as part of their registration fee, it includes the fee for the tournament kind of included in all that. So we get a lot of good parent volunteers, and even the older kids will volunteer to do stuff. So we do have a plan to have a high amount of volunteers to help out with that weekend like we normally do. So staffing
Well, then
shouldn't be a
maybe
problem.
they could get a dumpster and just do it. Then, Tony, is that correct?
Yeah, that was my original plan, because I wasn't sure what the
Okay, that's cool.
what the arrangements are. So if, you let me know. I'm open to either way, obviously. So if it's
So
something that's
do we-
included,
Do we want to put this on the agenda and approve it with some contingencies?
Well, my only concern, and I don't think you address this, is that parking on the west end. Can that get, if we have adverse weather, do we kind of lose that? Because I don't think everybody's gonna fit into that, stoned.
In the
Parking lot.
past tournaments like this, do you have a lot of buses come to this, Tony? Is that the case? Or no?
not typically. No, not typically.
Because
Buses.
typically, like, the cross country would put all the buses over on that side. You're right, because it was easier to. Yeah, it's definitely a concern, Joe, but we fix it. I mean, my bigger concern is the field's kind of funny. There's a lot of the soft spots that if you don't know the field and volunteers don't get that. You're right. End of July, it shouldn't be an issue, but yeah, if it's real bad rains, you can make a bigger mess. So I guess, but you know me, I'm around and I'll watch it.
You go through that about 6 times a year, Dave.
Yeah, we cross our fingers, rugby, polo, whatever.
And Tony, as far as the insurance certificate, I don't see one here.
Yeah, I sent one to Chris earlier last week, but it had the wrong zip code on it, and I just resubmitted it this afternoon, so he may not have gotten it yet. And it's in his inbox, so it is up to date.
Well, I would entertain myself putting it on the agenda and continuing upon getting the proper insurance and checking with Polo. What do you guys say?
I'm
I think so.
I think it's a great program.
And they're great. These kind of opportunities are great for our businesses too. They love having this many people come in. They're good. They're gonna be looking for food and all that
They
kind of
have
good
food
stuff.
Trucks here, but still.
But still, people are gonna,
Absolutely.
they're gonna patronize for sure. So
That's planned anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
To have food trucks. Sure.
All right.
Great.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions, Tony, or?
No, I think we're still on in the new business section, so I guess I can hang out for that, but I don't have any other questions at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna, we'll vote to approve it contingent upon receiving the proper insurance. And the only other item would be to make sure that the polo, we have a group that does polo there every year, make sure that it's not the same date.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
And then we'll let you know. If you don't want to stay on, you don't have to stay on for that. If you do, it's fine. But
Okay, I guess if I
Okay.
don't need to, I'll just wait to hear back. I
Okay.
appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody.
thank you, Tony.
Take care.
All right, next we have the site plan for 1757 Emery. And this is site plan for operate a short-term rental B&B. And this has been approved recommended by the planning board with the following conditions. One, to amend, update site plan to show existing conditions, driveway materials, turnout, and proposed parking areas. Two, recommend the town board hold a public hearing for neighbor input. And three, add conditions that when, if the resident is no longer owner occupied, then the B&B would be used, would be no longer valid. And that was voted on and unanimously carried by the planning board. Thoughts? Is there anybody? There's no one here. No.
I have a question for Liz, actually. He's requesting an application to operate a B&B in the habitable space above their attached garage.
Correct.
But in his survey, there, his drawn survey, he's got a proposed garage which is detached.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm assuming these plans are drawn of, is the detached garage. So
Right. They attached it to the house during construction last year to convert the second floor to habitable space
the second floor on the existing house
in the garage.
above his garage.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he wants to build a detached garage.
No, they built a garage initially that was detached with storage in the second floor. They had a mean height variance for that building. And then they ended up attaching the two structures
Oh, they did.
so they can convert that second floor to living space.
Okay. Gotcha.
So what we'd be doing is tonight would be just putting it on the agenda to set a public hearing. Is that
Fine by me.
good?
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm fully in favor that they should be owner occupied, but I talked to Liz earlier today about this very issue. And I think that's something we need to work on as a short-term rental policy or short-term rental code for the town. And Liz had graciously offered to produce some code samples from other municipalities when her schedule is a little bit more open.
Next year.
I removed the word graciously.
Next
This is
year.
kind of a deja vu moment as well. I believe.
Oh, we've
done
had this
before?
discussion. We've talked about it. But we really should address it in our residential, for our residential districts.
All right, next. We have to create a second assessor position for our assessing department. We're very close to choosing our next assessor. But there'll be a lapse of time when they could both be in the office. So we need to approve this for the county position. So any questions on that? Okay. Get there. All right, next. This is request from the courts. Jeff Marcello and Tony DeFilippo request to hire Elizabeth Wilbur to a full-time court clerk at the rate of $17.34 effective 11/16/2022. And she would be getting the 4% raise as we talked about in our office. 2023. And my office is losing a good employee, but Elizabeth has a chance to get full-time employment through the courts. So she goes with my blessing, sadly. So any questions on that?
Have we explored the cloning option yet?
We still don't know if I think you're going to still do this part of it. Yes.
Oh, good.
Once you have the excitement of the bi-monthly meetings, you can't go back, can you?
Oh, really?
Well,
So-
certainly gonna miss you. That's Elizabeth, we're certainly gonna miss you because you're a ray of sunshine. Unlike that Kathleen. I'm kidding, Kathleen. Geez, that didn't go over at all. I'm out.
We're just gonna need to break more laws, right?
Yes.
That get us over to Elizabeth.
But she really has been an asset for our office and a joy to work with and so, but
It's always
still,
pleasant.
she'll
that's
still
for
be
sure.
working for me though. Just in a different area. Okay. Next, we have highway purchase of tires and wheels. This is a request from Elizabeth Vizio. Please approve paying Chrysler Brothers Service, Inc., $5,191.60 for an invoice 71378. This is for labor and material costs to replace 8 tires, 2 wheels and rims resulted from a scrape between the highway department's 2018 Kenworth triaxle truck and another highway vehicle was not damaged. A invoice and photos were submitted to Selective Insurance and the claim is pending. Any questions from the board on that? Dave, do we know if we're gonna get?
Yeah, it's a claim that it was an accident, unfortunately, due to operator error. They hit the excavator, and only thing we're not sure if all 8 tires will be covered, because it's a tandem, all your treads have to match with the height of them. So you took out 2 wheels and 2 tires, but because of that, you had to change all 8. The insurance agent told me that we may not get covered for the other 6 in full, but they'll be prorated. So I'm not exactly sure how much the claim is going to reimburse, but it was above the procurement. So we had to put it on the agenda. So,
Save them for spares.
not the 2 that were torn up, but yeah, the rest. Yeah.
All right, and then next we have the highway purchase of radios and GPS, I believe, correct?
Yeah, this is something that we've been talking about for quite a few years. The old system we currently run on is by FM Communications, and we piggybacked off the Village of East Aurora for free. But their tower is antiquated, and it's been for a very long time. And for at least probably 10 years now, we've gotten to where they don't work so bad that we don't even hardly use them anymore. I think the board was aware of this, and I had said to my liaisons the past 2 years how we may want to think of some type of cellular plan because the employees are letting us call their phones. In the meantime, the police have had this problem, and the school department and fire department and a company, Saya Communications, just recently installed an antenna on the police station. I had a call from the town of Colden who let me know that they just bought these, and also the town of Holland has. So it's got a lot of features. One particular is that it has a specific highway channel. So when we work in Colden or Holland or anybody else that has this channel, we can all switch to that joint channel and we can communicate, which that's a big benefit. The other thing too is you can do private calling. So it's just like a cell phone. We can get a hold of them that way. We won't have to call their cell phones anymore. We can put a page on it. So say they're out of the truck, it'll be beeping when they get in to know that we're trying to get a hold of them. And then lastly, of course, the GPS function. I think we're all aware of how useful that could be for a lot of different reasons. I reached out to Chief Krieger, who just recently purchased these for the police department. And we can also have our signal hooked to his too, so the police can communicate to us that way. Now, the last feature too we like is people with their scanners won't be able to listen to us. Sometimes that created some awkward situations in the past, so it's nice to have a private channel. But I'll let Chief there see. He can tell you he's happy for them.
Yeah, it's a good system.
Yeah, she said he was in Syracuse and could actually hear them. So it just comes down to our plow trucks. It's really necessary to be able to have hands-free communication, especially in the winter. In the way we've been doing, it's been very difficult. Again, we've known about this problem. Now, I did call FM Communications because this is something that is a dollar figure that we need to have, bids. And they said that the only way that they could comparable is if the village upgraded their tower, but the village doesn't have any plans of doing that because it works fine for them because the signal doesn't have to go out far. So it's really, we can't bid this because, it's proprietary signal. He did say if we purchase this now, they go up like everything 20% next year. We looked and we had some leftover road funding, so I don't have to buy this, but I thought maybe it's a good time just to pull the trigger and at least we can get these in for the winter next week.
Dave, I can remember talking to Dave Drosendahl about new radios in these trucks 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been at least 10 ever since it went from analog to digital. The old FM tower, like Shane, it was useless. I mean, all West Falls up in the hill, we had to go to cell phones, and we were starting to switch over to Bluetooth technology, but we're so far away from that to have every piece of equipment with a Bluetooth. So I think this is probably really the answer.
Dave, so the cost is $9,994.30 for the highway trucks. And includes 1 month's service. So how much is it a month? Is it?
I thought it was in there. I think it's 25 if we utilize the GPS. It's 20 if we don't.
Per radio, though, right?
$234 a month is what I came up with.
Okay, right. And then if you pay the yearly fee, if you pay at the beginning of the year, they give you 2 months free. So it's 10 times that.
That first, obviously.
Right.
That-
Yeah.
And then you're asking to do it for the parks trucks too, right?
Yeah, we don't have the money in this year's budget, but say I said they'd install them now and we could turn them on first year. We could bill them then. But we do have money in that line for going forward. There's no question it is more expensive than we have been using. We had it for free. But if you look at the alternative of some kind of employee funded cell phone thing, it's kind of a wash. But, you are getting the GPS function, which for me is just going to be great, just to know, the leaves did get picked up last week.
Well, you know where the truck is,
Yeah. I mean, it's not that anybody's doing anything wrong. It's just so it would be so much easier to manage. Everybody could have access to that. It's just a password. I don't think we'd want to give it out to the public, but if it's something that anybody wanted to see, and also for accidents, it can go back 6 months. It holds it, if there's some kind of problem out there, you can at least make sure, we get, you get a call, red truck speeding down the road. Well, there's a million red trucks. At least now you can find out if it really was ours. So there's just a lot of good tools with it. Jim, I think back when I first started and you started 13 years ago, I first brought this to us, right? And it has dropped in price quite a bit.
I was doing it for my company,
Right.
And I was just saying I loved it,
Right. It always came down to the village service was free, but free is no good if it don't work.
Get your money's worth.
And now we won't put the GPS on like the equipment, like the excavator and things that obviously don't. So it's not exactly that cost, Chuck. 90% of them will have the GPS. So just be depending on the function that they're on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like, from what I can tell, it's two separate fees, right? There's the SayNet Connect Plus system fee, and then on the other page, there's the GPS, right?
That's
Those are
correct.
two
So-
separate. Okay,
So the ones that we don't need GPS function, we won't pay for.
gotcha. Okay.
Right.
You guys good with that?
So basically the plow trucks and the pickup trucks, things like that.
Sounds good.
All right, next we have the pool restroom change orders. Chuck, would you want to?
Sure. Sure. So the first one, as you read on here, is the new sub panel. And originally, the lines for the new bathrooms and a couple other spots there was going to come off of an existing line. But under the current code, you cannot have split breakers. There were several split breakers in that panel box. This is really not an option, and I thought they were very fair with us for the price to put this sub panel in because it wouldn't pass the electrical inspection if we didn't do it. So, and that one's $1,075. Anybody have any questions on that one?
Nope.
The next one is the subgrade below the sidewalk. Once we tore the sidewalk out, we discovered that it was poured over bank run gravel, which really isn't a very good base. And that kind of explains why was up and down in spots. So we're going this far to put it on some stone and have it last for another 60 years is the best way to go. That expense was $2,284. And I think that would be money well spent. The next change order is to cover the existing metal flashing on the tops of the pitched roofs. That's where in some spots anyway, where the vents come up through from the hot water tank and the boiler for the pool and so on. The plan called for just the EPDM roof to be brought over and down onto it. Once you get into it and you look at it, you can see how it's rusted, how it's really not in the best shape. Things are going to look so nice over there at the end. It just needs to be flashed in properly. That flashing will be what you see on that face at the peaks of those roofs there, that 8 inches or so. And it'll look nice and it'll last longer than any of us will have to ever worry about it. That one's a little expensive and I kind of balked at it with our contractor, but it is what it is. That's $2,786. And then the last one was to remove and rebuild the masonry column right next to where you walk into that little hallway, for lack of a better term, into the men's room there. That column we knew was cracked. We looked at it. It was not an easy thing to describe how to fix, especially since you didn't really know what was required, because it's obviously cocked because the footing is frozen and heaved and done whatever it's done in there. Now that they're into it, we know just exactly what it needs to do that. That expense for that is $1,938. Anybody have any questions on any of those?
Not on anyone specifically, but is this all a part of and within the contingency amount we set? So this would be considered part of that contingency, change order contingency?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks, Chuck.
And I want to thank all of you for working with me on this, because, you know, as we navigate the whole construction process, sometimes things come up.
When you start tearing
It's
things
not
apart, you find other problems.
Not our first go around with contractors. We expect that.
All right, do you expect a lot more or?
No, I really think that we've kind of discovered pretty much. I'm sure that, well, as a matter of fact, I know there's one more coming. I'm sure there'll be a couple more, but
Is the boiler in yet?
the boiler next week.
We'll be able to open up the pool in the winter.
Now we might slow down a bit, right? I understand weather might work against us here later.
Well,
in the week.
they're really trying to beat the weather. Aren't they? Poured concrete today.
Oh, good.
So
good.
for the slab in where the bathrooms are, and they're framing and they're roofing and they're replacing plywood and all of that. So they're
Good.
trying to beat the weather as best they can. Now I know it's supposed to get pretty darn cold here.
Yeah.
And I understand we might anyway get a little bit of snow.
All right.
We'll still have some nice weather.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next we have the special event permit on Boyce Road. And this is a application for special event from Michael and Ashley Bojanowski. Don't believe they're here. This is 1840 Boyce Road. It's a display of Christmas lights synchronized to music, which can be listened to inside a vehicle linked to a radio station. This was done, I believe, last year. And I guess I would ask the board if they have any questions on this, or ask anybody in the audience if they would like to speak about it.
I do have a couple of questions actually. And I'm surprised that they didn't show up here, but he's going to put up 3 no parking signs, but I don't know what type of signs they are or where they're going. Is 3 enough? Are they the paper signs that you stick to a 2x2 stake? I'd kind of like to know that.
Shane, do you have any input on this? You've dealt with this probably last year, right?
Yeah, it definitely does cause some issues with traffic stopping. Especially when the weather's not good. There's really, especially, after snow flies and the banks are high on either side, there's nowhere for the cars to park other than to stop in the road. So it's an issue.
I agree with Chuck. I think we need to have them in here because there's that knoll that you come over and the cars are parked all the way back there. That's a dangerous situation right there in the middle of the
And
winter.
you've got Chopper Road right there,
Yeah.
and it's,
So I think we need to get them to come in to talk about this in more detail. No?
Did they limit the parking last year, Shane? Or is this the first year we're
Well, we
asking for
did.
that?
We
You went out and put
tried.
signs up.
Yeah, we put signs on the west side, but if we're not there watching, that
They just line
doesn't
right
really
out.
matter.
Yeah, I attended it the first year and that was my very first thought is if an ambulance has to get through,
And
if
then
someone skids.
People are letting kids get out of the car and in the road, and it was just not all
I
the
mean,
time.
I
but
will
it
say
could
that-
be a mess.
I like the idea of him being able to do this. I really do. Let's just get the safety part of it figured out here. If I don't know, is 3 signs enough, Shane? How far? We don't know.
What happens to those? signs when-
I mean, our temporary signs, especially in the wintertime, they don't last very long.
Sure.
We're constantly putting up new signs. And again, if we're not there watching, people don't care about the parking signs.
Would it be possible, just as off the top of my head, the snow comes and you shut it down? I don't know. I mean, you're the neighbor. When the weather's clear, is it? Yeah, why do you want to come up and it's a supervisor's call? I don't want to.
I asked him to come up, but we.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I figured he'd come up sooner or later, right? Bob?
It's my favorite time of the year. Mostly on Thursday too.
Speak into the mic, Bob.
Um,
You can pull that out if it's easier to just pull it right out of there.
like this.
Just the microphone if
Take
you
the
want.
mic right out of there.
It's Robert Aronica, 1848 Boys Road, East Aurora. This has been going on for 3 years. Thank you to the board. Thank you to the previous board for the new regulations on the special events. This is like, if they go by a lot of these stipulations, it could limit a lot of problems. Personally, because some references to adjacent properties and things like that, we are the adjacent property. We had to buy $3,000 of trees along that line to reflect the lights, because the lights are not shining downward, they shine out. At 4:30, which was the time that they would start, we had to immediately pull all our no-see-um blinds, and they weren't ready to be opened until 10 o'clock. The chief was making reference about safety, and even getting to those, now we'll get into the safety. If you ask the chief how many times that we called for dangerous situations, numerous. If you go to the stop sign on Chopper, they'd come up with big double trucks and they would block the stop sign. Your situation about safety. So you never saw a stop sign. They would double park on that road. The police would come by. I don't know if they had lookouts or whatever. And as soon as the police left, they'd double park. And in here, it talked about safety.
Who is they?
Attendees. We can count, and I don't know on your permit how many people were going to attend. Last year, we counted as many as 70 cars at any given time, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, sometimes 70 that would block the roads. one of the petitioners, when we addressed the town board, a Michael Donaldson, told me, and well, actually told Jane and then told me today, the reason that he signed it was that when his mother, our rest in peace, was sick, getting home care, he was concerned of ambulances getting through because the roads were double parked. All 3 years, my wife and I have seen people doing cartwheels in the roads. I would call the police. The chief just mentioned this. You talk about 3 signs. Are you kidding me? They go all the way back to Shopper. People, you had to pull out some cars next to the Morgans. They go back on all the sides. They have total disregard for the police signs and no parking. They pull the signs apart. We come with staplers. An hour later, they do it. Some questions that I had on this permit was that you said that this is a special event, $25 to $50. Well, if the scope of the event is 6 weeks, is that one event? Or is it a multiple? Now we talk about school buses and coming back from work, about the light show set hours that you said you would love to see. What are the hours? If you make it from 4:30 to 6 o'clock, you're blocking the school buses. I have one school bus that goes forward, makes a turn. Chief, I don't even know if you know this. Then he backs up every day in the morning and at night. Why? I have no idea. But if the kids are in there, you have those cars. You also have people coming back from the 7 to 3 shift or work in the city. They can't do it. Garbage. We are the garbage crew. The other way, they come on Shopper, they turn their beams on, whoever those attendees are. You talk about the beautiful music, 40 minutes. That's blocking traffic. They don't care. Roll down the windows. They turn the audio up. Like one of the things is, does it, in here you provide for hearing the noise. They do is they turn their volume up on their cars, roll down the window so that it affects everybody. There is no peace, no tranquility. But if you want it in the safety and we keep it, I'm sure the chief's going to agree that he'll be there 24/7 and watch these cars, because the Bogalskis are not. The other thing is the signs. If you ask me, if you want to keep the show going, don't have the music or have it in a 2-minute loop, not a 40-minute loop, and have no standing signs. Maybe we mark the signs from November 1 to March 1, no standing both sides. I think I put that in the petition before. And you talked about the soccer being $250 for the special event over 3 days. In here, it says per event, 25 or 50. So if he's going 6 weeks, what is the town going to do? Lastly, we have damage on the county road. Dave and I have talked. It's terrible. It's Shopper. I'm going to watch them left and right. Dave goes. It's collapsed and we're going to county road. One of the contingencies on here is to provide for a bond issue. Why should we as taxpayers pay for the damage of this event? If you hire special rent-a-cops, how are they going to move the traffic? So if we want to do it, I say limit the music to 2 minutes, make both sides, whatever, lights, 6 o'clock to 9, maybe Wednesday through Sunday. Because the people that see this beautiful light show, God knows he starts in the summer and prepares for this, don't understand the impact on the neighbors. Maybe our neighbors don't have to pull out horses to block their driveways. And maybe we have less culverts being destroyed. I just had some cars, maybe they're, up the road from us on our property, just parked there. I don't know if what they're doing, but they were getting ready, but it's not pretty. And they go into your driveway and you can't even get in your own driveway. Our neighbors cannot even get in their driveway. And we have some sick neighbors down the roads. How do they get out of their driveway? I have a neighbor 2 doors down, suffering from cancer. Their name will remain quiet. You may know who I'm talking about. Shameful. And what happens if we need fire and rescue there and you can't get through? When I say you can't get through, I mean you can't get through. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, thank you, Bob. You can why don't Dave just take it.
That's.
Okay.
Just leave it on the table or on a chair. Yeah. Thanks.
Bob is obviously the public speaker in the family, not me.
You need to speak right in there.
And I think he probably said it quite well, a lot of it. A lot of these people on the road are older and there's a lot of them that are pretty ill. That's why they're not here. We didn't have a lot of notice about this topic being covered this evening. So that's why they aren't here. But the possibility of anybody needing an ambulance is very real. I've done some home care with these people. They're not getting better, they're getting worse. And that's just to be considered for them. You can't get through that road. The music is taped and it's about 40 minutes or so. So what happens is you have one car stopped. Maybe they don't know when the music is going to end, when the tape starts again. So it's all clogging up there. If that were shorter, I think that would make a huge difference in the flow of traffic, that it would move along there. Also, if it starts at 5, people are lining up at about 4:30. And the same thing with it ending at 9. They're there till 9:30, 10 because they're hanging out. Whatever they're doing, it looked like tailgating for a while there when the weather was nicer. So some limitation there. 6 weeks from the day after Thanksgiving till the day after New Year's, sometimes they'll have parties and that's on till 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, come on, so limit those hours that it is, I think would really, really help. I think a lot more people would be here if we had more notice, but it just didn't work out that way at all. So I just would really appreciate you considering some limitations with this event over there, because it's really, really miserable. And to me, I've seen so many close calls with accidents. It's not if, it's when there's going to be one. Thanks.
There are kids that are being here. We have called the police over the years about seeing kids in the middle of the road doing cartwheels and they're tailgating.
Hey, Bob, you're going over, you're repeating what you already said. So I think we get the message. We get the message. We understand it. And I think we all hear you. So I'm not trying to cut you off short, but you're just repeating yourself now. I think we as a board have to look at this and my suggestion would be to table it tonight. Sure. And look at some alternatives. And
yeah, I'm a little disappointed the petitioners aren't here because I think we could get a heck of a lot more accomplished if we could
I met with
Question.
them and I mean, we went through several things and I said, I'm surprised they're not here.
And it's not a surprise that people are concerned on both sides of hoping to keep it and hoping to limit the intrusion. So I'm with you. How you
Hey,
think we should?
Dave, on the road itself, the county road, is there any way of talking to the county? If this road is eroding and the shoulders are falling off, that maybe they would have some input that they don't want that to happen, or is it a town thing only?
Yeah, they don't care, Jim.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's a Christmas.
The
thing.
county.
I doubt. But yes, there is some truth that in the area on Boys before Shopper, the road now has a spot because it's soft on the shoulders. Putting them on the shoulders is actually worse for the road because it starts to pump and that, it did definitely do some damage. But again, that's a county road and we have no jurisdiction. And they do know about it. I know that. I don't know if Mr. Boblowski called them. I think you have, right? You've called the county before. Right. And I don't think they care.
Shane, do you think a meeting with you and maybe myself and the petitioners to go over some safety issues or what?
It's not like they're down at the road directing traffic. So, I mean, they turn it on and either are home or not home. I don't know what they could do to facilitate a safer environment.
Okay. All right.
You have authority to put up the no parking, right? Even though it's
We
a
do.
county road?
Yeah.
That doesn't limit that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
It
And
just-
you have done that.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
What if we wanted to put permanent signs up? Would that be an option?
Yeah, well, just like we've done on Center Street, I think Dave would have to request their permission to do it.
Yeah.
I think. but-
Gonna get knocked over anyway, right? Cloud. Yeah, okay.
Look at where that's happening. That's a big drift right there.
Yeah, it's a big wide open area.
There's just no real answer here, is there? Okay.
Well,
But I've been saying all along. Never it was an issue with plow trucks.
I mean, it's a shame because that's more of a village setting situation, you would think, not out in the middle of nowhere, with roads that can't handle parking on the road. It's as long as it's being held, it's going to be an issue.
And you don't want to sound like Scrooge at Christmas time, but safety should be number one.
I have no problem saying that.
Yeah.
I hope the
Okay.
kids aren't listening.
I heard they're gonna move it to Bailey Road next year.
That'll be handled.
I do have a question, and I'm gonna ask Shane, just so we don't prolong this too much. There was a suggestion of maybe limiting it to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or to Sunday or something like that. Is there I assume there's a significant increase in cars as you get to Friday, Saturday, probably Sunday. Do you know what? I mean, can you give us any idea about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if that's gonna make a
Yeah,
difference?
I mean, out there, Jim, I don't think. I mean, it's not a thoroughfare. It's more of just the residents in that area
Mhm.
driving to and from work to the store.
But I mean, during the music and the lights.
I think if you limit it, you'll have more people on those nights.
That's my question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it might be worse.
Yeah.
One last question, this is either for Dave or Shane, is if, and I know this is a big if, but if we could restrict it to one side, and this is assuming that we don't have 5 feet of snow and huge drifts, if it was reasonably clear, is that road wide enough to still handle emergency vehicles? Yes.
Still get plow trucks through.
Okay.
I mean, I can understand your feeling. But never had trouble in the plows through. It's obviously it would be a big issue if we couldn't.
Yeah.
I can't see something to shop.
Okay.
I mean, those roads are wide. I mean, they're 66-foot right of ways.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I mean, when you start talking about the shoulders gone,
Well, no, they go in them. That's what I'm trying to say. Is they're not.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think there's options for making this a more safe event. I mean, if it's snowing, if it's heavily snowing out, and Dave has the ability to shut it down, or Shane.
Yep.
Then we have that line of communication.
You couldn't get through? You'd have
I mean, working with the owners, just shut it out if
Yeah, but
that's, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the town attorney can jump in on this. I don't know what authority I have for shutting down music on private property or not music, sorry. Lights on private property.
Our special event code.
Okay.
For me, I let my plow guys.
I've never experienced that, Luke, so I'm not,
Yeah.
I haven't
I mean, I
looked into
think if I'm
that.
not mistaken, we are, so they applied for permit, we could put conditions on that permit. One of those conditions could be that, you need your approval, for example, to
Sure.
do it or something, or,
Okay.
I would like to see something before the Knoll. I mean, have them put up some sort of sign before, not them or you or something like that, because I don't know, whatever it is.
And if it was a safety issue, I would think you would, certainly,
Well,
maybe
I
not
mean,
stop the lights, but
I-
you would be able to tell those cars to move.
Well, yeah, we tell them to move, but like I said, as soon as the patrol car's gone, they're right back, as the neighbor will attest.
Well, I
If
think
it's
Luke's right.
playing, there's going to
Put
be,
that in the special events.
as long as the people are aware that one of my officers will be stopping at their house if there's any issues and telling them to turn the music or turn the lights off, that's fine.
My concern would be if the town issues a special use permit for this to happen and something happens out there, a tragic accident happens out there.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
town will be sued. The town will be
Yeah, whether
named in a suit because we authorize this. I mean, knowingly if there's traffic hazards. So we really got to look at this.
That's, you're absolutely right. We spoke about this before, right? If we didn't come up with a special event code, it's our fault because we know this is happening. Now we have the special event code. It's our fault if we don't put in the proper reasonable precautions. And the owners of the house have to understand that this is the time now when they need to come in and we need to put those, whatever those are. And if it's not possible to get to them, it's not possible. I think there's probably a way to do it, but they need to be in here to do that. So.
All right, anything else? All right. We'll move on to our regular meeting.
Yep.
Oh, so soon? Anybody want to take 5 recess? Y'all good?
I'm not going down into me. We've been holding back for this.
That's what happens when there's 3 weeks.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a bio
Okay,
break.
we'll take a 5-minute break, then we'll go on. Okay.
I'll be glad to be with you on that meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I met with them the first time.
Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you cannot take the whole time, put it out there.
Yeah. Come up with what we come up with.
Find a better way, we can roll into it.
Yes, good. Yeah. Yeah.
We lost.
Next on the agenda is our 2023 budget presentation.
Oh, I think.
And we'll start with the general fund townwide. There we go. And this is paid for by all town residents, which includes the recreation and parks, assessment, building and code enforcement, dog control, administration such as supervisor, town clerk, engineer and highway, courts, tax collection, our legal, operation and maintenance of buildings, programs for the aging, and historian. Next. Our general fund town outside the village. This is paid by paid for by the residents in the town outside the village, non-village residents. This would include planning and zoning, disaster preparedness, public safety, such as police services, which is provided by the village contract. Our highway fund townwide is paid for by all town residents. And this includes our new bridge repair. Highway fund town outside the village. It's paid for by residents in the town outside the village, non-village residents. This includes snow removal, road maintenance and repair, permanent road improvements, brush and weed removal, and equipment. And our special districts, paid by the property owners in a specific special district for a specific service, which would be sewer, lighting, fire protection, and garbage and rubbish. Now our budget fund summary. These are our appropriations. Our general fund townwide would be $3,635,863. Our general fund town outside the village, $1,887,500. Our highway fund townwide, which is the bridge fund, $62,904. In our highway fund town outside village, which is $2,041,253. So our tax rate summary. Our general fund townwide will see an increase of 14 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. $3.65 in 2022 to $3.79 in 2023. General fund town outside the village fund will see an increase of 3 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. That's $2.68 in 2022 to $2.71 in 2023. Our tax rate summary. Our highway fund townwide remains the same per $1,000 assessment. It's 11 cents in 2022, and it'll remain the same in 2023. Our highway fund town outside the village will also remain the same per $1,000 assessment. $1.58 in 2022, and it'll also be $1.58 in 2023. There are town taxes outside of special districts, and this is a tax at a rate of $1,000 of assessed value. So a town-only resident will pay $8.19 per $1,000 of assessed value. It was $8.02. Village, $3.90, and it was $3.76. Town residents will see an increase of 17 cents per $1,000. So an example, a home assessed at 100,000, about 377,000 market value, will see a $17 increase. Village residents will see an overall increase of 14 cents per thousand. Example, home assessed at 100,000, 377,000 market value will see a $14 increase. our New York State tax cap. It's not actually a 2% as the lawmakers promote. We get a calculation using a formula from the state controller's website. They gave the town an allowance for growth for all our funds. And despite inflation and increased costs, the town board was able to develop a budget that keeps us under the tax cap. Our fund balances, the town has a healthy fund balance. We're not depleting our fund balances to stay under the tax cap. Our appropriated fund balances in 2023 were $220,000 in the general fund, $85,000 in town outside village, and $225,000 in the highway fund. So looking long term, we like slight and manageable annual spending increases to keep up with the rising costs of inflation and an ability to maintain town services. This will prevent the town from being forced into a large spike in spending and taxes in the future. So keeping the taxes flat or just a little bit of an increase will keep us from spiking in the future years. Avoiding large tax cuts today would only pass off large tax increases in continuing budgets. Just the final taxing summary. Our final tax increase in the A fund was 3.97, the B fund 1.16. The DA fund was a decrease of 1.94, and the DB fund was 0.19. And we were able to stay under the tax cap by $51,499. I'll entertain any questions from the board or anyone else. Comments?
I'd like.
Great budget, Jim.
Yeah, great budget. Thank you very much, Supervisor Bach, for the work. You and Kathleen. I know Kathleen was a crucial element in it. And you guys did a great job. It was this was my first budget process, and I have to say it was a pleasant one. So, and that was dedicated to the work that was done before we even sat down at the table. So, thank you.
Well, big thanks to Kathleen. And we spent a lot of time together doing this in the office. And she's great at putting the numbers, crunching the numbers, and getting the advice from the board and putting the numbers down. I appreciate all the input. It was every year. It seems like it's more challenging, but this year went along smooth, I thought. And we were at the benefit of some increased sales tax, mortgage tax money this year, which helped immensely. And it was made us able to make some corrections in our salaries to our employees, a little bit of a better increase for them this year because of the inflation, and with the ARPA money, the bonuses that we were given, one-time bonus. So again, thank you, Kathleen, and thank you, board. It was a hard budget, but it came out great. So thank you. Next, we'll move for the approval of the minutes. So I have a motion to approve the October 24th, 2022 work session and meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Joe.
Second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have audience opportunity for anyone to speak to the board on anything on the agenda. Guess we exercised that already. Unfinished business. So now we have the changes on the preliminary budget that we have to approve before we can adopt the budget. And you all have a list of those changes. You need me to read them off, or can we just vote on the list is listed?
Yep.
Okay, so motion to approve the preliminary budget changes as listed.
So move.
Motion by Jim.
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. And my happiest part of the whole year, motion to adopt the 2023 operation
budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck,
Second.
second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much. All right, next we have the health insurance. We all learned a little bit about that, hopefully tonight. I would ask for a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Independent Health to offer the following plans as listed.
So moved.
Motion by Jim,
I'll second.
second by Chuck. Any discussion?
Briefly, I always was so much happier with the independent health plans. The Blue Cross just seemed to not be beneficial for myself, my family, anything like that. And I've always been happy with independent health. So I'm glad that's the option that seems to work better for the town.
And it's so nice to have her come and bring it to us. Say,
Right.
look, this is happening. You might want to think about this. And, you know, I don't think we've had that before. We started with April and they're just, they just seem to be really on top of it. So.
Absolutely.
Nice to see that Chet's has got something in it too.
Oh, is that where they are? Chet's? Nice.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the temporary use permit for the Lancaster Soccer. And I would make the motion to authorize the application with a contingency of the proper insurance and checking with the schedule for polo.
And we decided on what they were gonna take care of their own trash.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion?
A quick question. Do we know when the polo will announce if they're going to use it, when they want to use it, things like that? If it's going
That's
to be.
what I
a
gotta
conflict?
find out. That's what I have to find out.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought they announced late last year.
Well, when we first started with this group, they signed up for it and everything, then COVID hit.
Right.
And so it put a kind of a damper on it for a couple of years. So then they were a little late in announcing it this year because they were just trying to get organized again.
Sure.
And I believe next year it'll probably be a bigger event. I don't know.
It's the third week of July.
Yeah.
Is this the same week as reunion? Because that's the third week.
Okay, yeah, it is.
If it's, yeah, I'll just double check it.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is the same. It is the same week as reunion, isn't it?
So third week.
Yeah.
It's what it was. It's the following weekend, so there's no conflict.
Yeah. Okay, good. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have to set a public hearing for the site plan for 1757 Emery Road. And would that be for next meeting, Martha?
Yes.
The 28th, right? So motion to set a public hearing on the 28th at 7 o'clock for the site plan at 1757 Emery.
So
Motion by Luke,
Second.
second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And that is carried. Now, a civil service position for the second assessor position. Do I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign to create this new position?
So moved.
Motion by Luke,
I'll second.
second by Chuck. Any discussion?
Will we have to, just out of curiosity, we will have to eliminate this position afterwards? It'll just kind of float out there. Oh, it's listed as temporary? Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, the court clerk. Hiring of Elizabeth Wilbur at a rate of $17.34 and effective 11/16/2022. They have a motion?
Moved.
Motion by Luke,
Regretfully seconded because as we've already discussed, Elizabeth will be missed.
second by Joe. I think we'll all say the same, but she's still gonna be here at the meeting, so.
And I'm sure Joe's gonna find some ways to get down to the court somehow, right? So.
Well, I'll be speeding down Main Street just to say hello. Sorry, Shane, didn't know you were here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Next is the request to pay Price Toll Brothers $5,191.60 for tires and rims for the highway truck. We have a motion to authorize.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the two-way radios and GPS systems for the highway trucks at a cost of $9,994.30 with 1 month of service included. And we also have the Parks Department, which is $3,247.01. Dave, you wanted both of those on there, right?
Yeah, I just want it pre-approved.
Okay.
So I can move forward.
Any questions on that? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the pool restroom change orders. And do you want to run through the cost and just a description
Sure.
real quick? And then
Sure.
we'll do them. We have to do them for,
Independently?
yes.
Okay. So you want me to just go through it and you'll.
Do one and then I'll ask for a motion.
Okay.
then-
First one is the circuit breaker, which is required to meet the electrical code in the amount of $1,075.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that's carried.
Second one is the sidewalk subgrade. There was bank run gravel in there and we're going to put real stone under the sidewalk to make it last longer. That was in the amount of $2,224.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Joe,
Second.
second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and it's carried.
Next one is metal flashing up at the peaks of the pitched roofs, which will make everything better and last a long, long time in the amount of $2,786.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck,
Second.
second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And the last one is to rebuild that masonry column that we knew about, but didn't really know how to word it and get it just the way we wanted it until we dug into it with the footing and so on. And that's in the amount of $1,938.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Joe,
I'll second.
second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have the special event permit on Boyce Road. Now I have a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have the SB 75 service contract. And this is a report of financials for our employee benefits. The town attorney did talk to me just a few minutes ago, and on the second page, the indemnification, she would ask that we eliminate that clause. You think that's going to cause us any issues, Kathleen? Okay. It does really, we're identifying them for something that they would do. So it really doesn't make any sense. So we'll take it out. We'll see what they say. So Do I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign this agreement? In the amount of $4,000 for this year. And then the following year of 2 years, it'll be $2,000 per year. With the clause of taking out the indemnification. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Opposed, and that is carried. Maybe you could talk to Kathleen tomorrow and explain it.
I'll give you a call, Kathleen.
Okay, next we have budget amendment for ARPA funds. And this is from Kathleen. She requests approval to amend the budget to actually reflect the 2022 ARPA expenditures made from 9/13 through 11/14/2022. And the amendment is as follows: increase revenue line A4089 federal aid other by $21,700.98 and increase appropriation line A7110.5454 park improvements ARPA only by $21,701.98. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have a request from Elizabeth DeVizio. Please approve hiring Jordan Schneider as a truck driver. He resides at 135 Ellis Drive, West Falls, New York. Be starting on or after December 1st, 2022. His hourly starting pay will be $23.06 an hour for the CSEA union contract. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. Any discussion?
So this is a truck driver position, so you must already have CDL and that kind of
Yep.
fun stuff.
Hopefully he's good to go. We'll find out. Let's see if we can plow.
Nice.
Son of dumb boys.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Any other discussion?
That's it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. And then we have a budget transfer from Kathleen Moffitt. And this is to cover parks fuel costs through the year end. We have a motion to authorize this budget transfer as listed.
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. And next is a request from Donna Bodecker. Suggesting the town board for permission to surplus the 60-inch round tables, which were purchased in 2021. And she recommended that we auction them online. We have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe,
Second.
second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have another request from Donna Bodecker. She'd ask the town board to accept a donation from the Daily Society in the amount of $100. The money will be used to assist in purchasing new folding chairs. And she asks that the funds be put in line TA 1000.90. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
By Joe. Second. Second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. And this is a request from Roger Pigeon. He's requesting that they can close their office December 6th, 2022. They take the staff to the annual holiday party and luncheon. And they will be closed from 10:45 to 3:30. This is something they do every year. Do I have a motion?
Make that. Go ahead, Luke. I'll second.
Motion by Luke, second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, this is the assessment review board appointment. And this is for Miss Julie Rad, 1796 Grover Road, East Aurora, and her term is up. And how long of an appointment is it, you know, Kathleen? 5 years? 5-year appointment. And this is Julie, I think this is Lenny Mazurkwas's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's recommended highly by Roger. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is everyone falling asleep here or what? All right, next we have communication and reports. We have the October 2022 town clerk tax, town clerk, Erie County Highway Correspondence Center and Blakely intersection, and the supervisor's report. I don't know if did I send that to you guys? You know, that report from Center and Blakely?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so we all know that there hasn't been, even though it seems like there hasn't been enough accidents to put a four-way stop there yet. There was a lot of accidents all at once, and then there hasn't been any for, I don't know, like 3 years, according to the county. So they're just going to monitor it right now. They did clear the trees on every corner there where they could, and tried to make the vision and sight lines easier, but you can't correct when someone's not paying attention and there's big stop signs and maybe some texting going on, who knows, but hopefully that won't continue to happen.
They did quite a bit of clearing. I did drive through there and they really did.
We've had some complaints about it too.
About the clearing?
Too much clearing?
Well, I guess the county did. They cut back some apple tree that somebody, but it's on their right of way.
Yeah.
So they didn't like it.
So I put that out in the Facebookosphere.
Yeah.
And I tell you, there's no common thinking there. People want it to be a full stop all way. Other people would just rather remove all the stop signs and let Darwin figure it out. So there's no pleasing everyone, that's for sure.
All right, we'll move on to business from the board members. I'll go to Luke.
A lot going on, but we've had a long night, so.
Okay. Chuck?
I'm good too.
Jim?
Thanks for having me.
I'll stick with the theme.
Okay. Well, I might as well too then. There is a lot going on, but
A lot going on.
we're on time and a half right now, so.
Really busy, so, but.
I just want to say happy Veterans Day, post Veterans Day to all the veterans. The Legion had a very nice ceremony, and I was able to attend, and can't say enough about the veterans. The next we have audience, and anybody want to talk? Kathleen, you want to say anything? About a half hour or something? No? Okay.
I'd like to admit that I was wrong about the Werthers that are in Kathleen's office. They are very delicious. And since making fun of her for having them, I've probably had one every single time I've been in there since. So
Once you figured out how to open them, then you have some trouble?
the first two slipped right out of my hand.
And
Yeah.
how come there's only suckers left? I mean, what's up with that?
It's like the Coriolis.
Wait a minute. Elizabeth, were you the Werther's source? Kathleen was a Werther's source? Oh, thank God.
There's a lot more people visiting our office since that pale candy's been there. Staff reports, anything on the library? Nothing. Kathleen, do you have anything? Shane? Dave?
I do have something.
Okay.
Everybody wants to go home, but the bridges, Chuck met with me with the engineer the other day, and it's just important that the public knows the Church Street Bridge is going to get delayed. We're going to have to do a extension on the Bridge New York grant. All four corners of the bridge are on private property, so we do have property issues on that one. So we're looking at moving that now to the 2024 year. And it actually may fall into us good anyway, because by then hopefully Senator Galvin's 122 grant comes through and we can do the stream at the same time. The good news is Fillmore is completely done, cleared. We got a preliminary drawing. It all fit in the right of ways, including a sidewalk potentially if the village goes for it. We are going to have to start working there this winter. We have to do all the tree work before the April 30th deadline of the migration of the long-nosed bat. I don't know if you remember that issue before, but if we don't get the trees down now, the contractor can't work in the creek later. So the highway will have to get in there earlier. We do plan on closing East Fillmore probably around April 1st, and we'll make sure that everybody's notified way ahead, and the highway will be doing the demolition of that bridge. So we're going to do that in-house. I think we're a little bit worried about with the inflation that the costs are going up. So I think to try and cut some costs out of that, we'll do some of the work in-house with the tree work and the demolition. It's a real easy one. It's just a little hunk of concrete. Probably take me about 20 minutes. So
Did you get the grant that I sent you?
yeah, that's for the new changes, right? So I do have to look at that further. Thanks. We actually have a meeting about that Thursday, luncheon about that. So Chuck, thanks. And then Luke's been helping me with the village. I believe things are looking good there. They're having their public meeting, I think, next week.
Thank you.
So thank you, Luke and Chuck.
It was a very interesting meeting. We
the
dug
Church
into it
Street.
pretty deep, really.
Yeah, we did. I did go to the neighbors and I got the surveys. It appears believe it or not, it appears the village never declared the road that the residents owned to the middle of the road of Church Street. So they got a lot of property issues over there before we can proceed. So we have to get that ironed out. I know that doesn't make sense, but that happens a lot in the 1800s or whenever things are built. But definitely all four corners of the current bridge are on private property, except for one is the village's property. So that should be the easy corner. The residents, when I told them that, were like, boy, can we just give it to you for free? Because we want to get moving on this bridge. And but we checked with the state and we have to go through the process. Just because we're going through the Bridge New York process, we just have to follow the path that they laid. So just so you know, just wanted you to know one bridge this year and we'll do another one the following year. Okay.
Yep. Liz? Motion to approve the abstract.
So moved.
Motion by Chuck. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, it's carried, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for coming tonight.